tuning in to a new episode of another HipHop podcast. And today we're going to be talking about a rapper that I grew up on and loved dearly. For at least the first two albums, he had a significant role of me appreciating hip-hop, appreciating lyricism, appreciating similes, metaphors. He grew my appreciation of bars. He grew my appreciation of battle rap, appreciation of overall lyricism of artists who took their time creating their art and just being creative and spitting bars that you never heard of, bars that just make you rewind the song like, what the fuck did he just say? Is no other than the rapper Canibus. Now, Canibus came out in the mid to late 90s. He was featured on a lot of tracks with just guest verses from what I remember him. When I first got into Canibus was when his second album, 2000 BC, came out, and it blew my mind. That was actually one of the first two albums I ever bought, which was Canibus 2000 BC and Nas I Am. Now, 2000 BC stood out above I Am to me at that time, based off the metaphors and similes that Canibus was doing. But let me go back. There was a lot of guest features Canibus was doing. I remember him being on the Firm Desperado track. He was on Common's third album, and he was just destroying rappers, legendary rappers or good rappers. I remember on Common's song that he was on his Common's third album, he said, "I walk across the sun barefooted looking for shade." And I was just thrown away, like how creative he was with his bars. And there's the famous YouTube video with Canibus, DMX, Big Pun, Mos Def, and they're just sitting in a lounge having a freestyle session. And Canibus was the one who was standing out amongst those legends, you know, because out of all those people are considered legends now, and Canibus is a name of the past at this moment. You know, like, people don't talk about Canibus, people don't bring up his name. People who were around at that time kind of bring up Canibus. I've seen a lot of DJ Vlad videos where they talk about the rap battles that Canibus had, which was horrendous, which I'm going to get to later on in this podcast. But Canibus was doing his thing, man, and he was basically, he had that Eminem flow. Like, Eminem and Canibus, you can see the similarities at that time because they were kind of both saying off the wall type bars, grabbing your attention. But I think Canibus was a little bit better, and I think Canibus could have had a better career if he was put in the right situation at the right time. But eventually, as people know, that he got with Wyclef, which was a good thing at the time because Wyclef was actually doing a lot of production for the Fugees, and he was doing a lot of low-key production as well. And Wyclef was looked among his peers as like a great producer. You know, he was looked at like a RZA almost to other artists, to other rappers, like, because he can produce songs and also rap and control the production on a good group, which was the Fugees at the time. And but as we know, when Canibus Can I Bust album came out, it was so garbage. I listened to 2000, like I said, I had 2000 BC first, and then I was like, man, this album is amazing. And then my older brother, who was the one who introduced me to hip hop, he was like, yeah, but his first album was trash. I was like, it can't be if this dude was flowing like this. And I had went back and listened to it at a later date, and the Can I Bust album was so garbage. The one thing Canibus is not good at is making concept songs, or should I say songs that have a meaning to them. Canibus' strength is when he makes songs where he's just rapping. When Canibus is making songs like Niggonometry or Channel Zero or you know what I mean, something with, it has a story behind the song, it doesn't do good for him. It's not good for him. But songs like on that album, like Buckingham Palace, where just let Canibus rhyme, or Second Round Knockout, Like, Canibus is good at battling. Let him do that. Don't make Canibus a conscious rapper. And Wyclef didn't work to Canibus' strengths on this album. And it hurts so bad because that probably could have been a better second album, like a second sophomore fail. But 2000 BC, if that was his first album, I believe Canibus probably would have been around to this day. But the 2000 BC album was insane. Like, the bars he was dropping on there, the diss records, Watch Who You Beef With, and also the song with Rakim, the legendary Rakim, on a fire beat, rapping, dissing Mace's brother Blinky Blink, which a lot of people probably won't even remember at this staging point. But Canibus and Rakim were just going back and forth, and to be on Rakim's level on your second album, going bar to bar, it was a match made in heaven. Like, they were literally going bar for bar on the last track, going back and forth, and they was just keeping up with each other. And I would have loved to see how Canibus and a Rakim album or a mixtape would have been. I think that would have been so powerful for hip hop and just for lyricism at the time. I wish that would have happened. And I also wish the Four Horsemen would have happened as well, with him, Razkaz, Corrupt, and I forgot who the fourth, I think it might have been Master Ace. I can't remember who the fourth one was. It's been a while since I heard that song, but that would have been historical. See, this is the type of stuff that could have happened, that could have made Canibus a staple in hip hop if he would have did these type of things at that time. I know the Four Horsemen have a lot of tracks together, but if he would have made the Four Horsemen album right after this one, Canibus probably would have been on a good plateau. But he didn't, and he fucking failed. And I'm pissed to this day about this, because Canibus could have had a crazy career. Like, Canibus was just ripping every song on that album, and it was insane. And I know the beef with him and Eminem started on the Fuck You track. Now, the Fuck You track is one of my favorite songs on the album, at least my top 5 favorite songs on that album. And him and Eminem on that song would have been crazy. And I personally feel like Eminem didn't get on that song because I think he would have, first off, it would have brought some light to Canibus project, because Canibus already had a good following, but I think it would have brought him more momentum to his name and to that album if Eminem was on there, because around that time, that's when Eminem was starting to blow up with the Dr. Dre movement in the aftermath, and that beat would have been perfect for him and Eminem to just spaz on. And I think and I know in the third verse Eminem was supposed to be on it, and Canibus had to make a new verse, and Canibus basically ended up dissing him on the third verse where Eminem was supposed to be on. And Canibus was just destroying on that song, and I personally feel like Eminem probably felt like he couldn't compete with Canibus at that time on that song, because Canibus was just on a whole nother level. Like, he was destroying every track. Like, even going back to the DJ Clue Volume 1 and Volume 2 songs, Canibus was just destroying every rapper on those songs. Like, even when Big Pun was on there, Cameron was on there, Jadakiss, and I believe Styles was on there, and Canibus outshined all of them. And DJ Clue knew what the hell he was doing by letting Canibus have that last verse on that song, because if Canibus would have went on before, I think nobody would have cared about the rest of the track, because it was almost like what Nas did with Live at the Barbecue. Nobody listens to the rest of Live After Barbecue after Nas's verse goes on. Like, nobody can compete with that. Like, you gotta save the best verse for last. And Canibus, it's so sad, because after that album, I know the True C Hollywood Stories came out, and I listened to that album one time back when it came out, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Canibus, work to your strength. Do not release concept albums. Just rap. just battle rap, bro. Just battle rap on tracks on good production. That's all you need, because like your metaphor and bars. And the thing is, Canibus has one of the best perfect voice for rapping. Like his voice is made to be a rapper. Like his voice grabs you. It gets like you pay attention. Plus you already spitting good bars, and then you have the perfect voice for it. And you just need to work to your strengths, man. And I think he didn't have the good people in his ear at the time. I think he should have signed with he probably should have signed with like a DJ Clue, or have DJ Clue promote him. But I know like he needed to find a good home with a good stamp of superstars. And I think Canibus probably would have been a prevalent name to this day. But his lyricism does need to be studied if you want to be a lyricist rapper. I know that's not big right now, but I think people who want to understand bars and simile, study Canibus. Study Canibus music until 2000 BC. Like everything before, he has enough material for you to go through to understand how great this dude was at that moment in time. Like it's almost like a basketball player. Like when they come in the league, they have like a good 3-4 years, like, and then they just fall off. And he's a prime example of this, because Canibus music after this just was not hitting. He had one good album. I can't remember the name of the album. I don't have my phone next to me. But it was okay. Like he kind of got back to that battle rap over the nice production. But after that, it's just hard, because Canibus just, I know he went to the military, and then he just his music just was not hitting like it was before. And it hurts, because like he was one of my favorite rappers growing up. And a lot of people do not know this, that Kobe Bryant actually was inspired to rap because of Canibus. Like nobody knows that. This is a rare fact, that Canibus influenced the GOAT, the late great Kobe Bryant, to rap. And like a lot of people don't know this. And I remember the battle with Disaster is where I'm going to end this off. Is I actually watched the battle, and it hurt so bad, because Canibus is an excellent battle rapper, and for him to actually have to pull out a pad and not be prepared, it just hurt. It was probably one of the most saddest things. The top two saddest things I've ever seen in battle rap history is Canibus and Cassidy. Just battles, and like those are like the worst things I can see in battle rap. Like when it comes up to my head, it's just Canibus and Cassidy, and their names sound the same, and I don't know what it is, but both of those guys are sad, and Canibus just never recovered from that. Never recovered. I don't think he should probably get one more chance, because if Cassidy is getting 2 chances to battle rap with his trash ass, I think Canibus should get another chance too, because it's been some years, it's been some time since that happened. I think it can get out of people's memory, and just the history of what Canibus has, even the battle with LL Cool J, people can go back and see his great work. And I want to talk about this with the battle rap with him and LL Cool J, because I know I didn't talk about this. I should have brought it up sooner, but I was just thinking about more important things, because the LL battle has already been covered plenty of times for years, and I know these guys have made up over the years, and I think that's really good, because I really still don't like the fact that how LL came at Canibus at the time. I think Canibus was just a good battle rapper, and I think LL Cool J probably needed something to give him that street cred, so to speak. And I think Canibus was a good artist for that. I think because you can't fight a weak opponent and win, and get credit. And I think a lot of people thought at the time Canibus was like the upcoming great rapper, and I think LL wanted to throw some darts at him at first, just to get some stamina for himself as a street cred, on this new up and coming rapper. But LL did win the battle, in my personal opinion, because with the Reaper Strikes Back record, that literally is the top 5 greatest diss tracks I ever heard. LL Cool J just went off on that song, and there's no way you can come back from that. Like, that has to be that song is better than Ether. It's better than Takeover. Like, that battle rap song was insane. Like, I think the only song probably better than that as a battle rap is probably Ice Cube's No Vaseline. And the Reaper Strikes Back just shows you why LL Cool J is great. And I know a lot of people don't talk about LL anymore, but that song was insane. And I just wanted to shine some light on Canibus, man. He's been one of my favorite rappers growing up. I still listen to his second album to this day. I still listen to a lot of his freestyles and his guest appearances, because like on Beast from the East has to be probably the greatest feature track Canibus was on, in my personal opinion, when he said, "I'll put you so hard on your left, your heart end up on the right side of your chest." Like, that type of shit was just insane. And I just want to shed some light on Canibus. Like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you guys think. Check out some old Canibus records, guys, if you're a hip-hop fan. If you never listened to Canibus, man, just listen to how crazy bars this man was just dropping, man. And I'm out, man. So like, comment, subscribe to another hip hop podcast, and I'm out.